Hello, everybody. So, I've had people in and out of the community ask me the same question, despite if they watched the video or not. If not totally watched the video. About my condition, Manami, and ZenithXI. Even though I went over this, you guys really just want clarification, huh? Well, we'll start with my health. Yes, my voice has changed. I don't know if that's gonna go away. But I am off the pain meds. I've actually been awake longer than 6 hours for months. I think I can stay awake long enough for this video. So, as you know, over the past week, I've been on pain medication, and I've even tried to work one day, basically on Friday of last week. They had to send me home because even though they were putting me on light duty, I was basically drifting in and out of consciousness. No matter what I was able to do, because again, I had to be on the pain medication, and it was just too much. In fact, they had to call an Uber, company paid for it, thankfully, to get me home. Once I was feeling good enough, I was able to get a ride back to get my vehicle. But over the past 8 days, I've been, 7 days ago, I've just been sleeping. Lots and lots of sleeping. But I'm feeling better now. I'm all good. As for Manami, as I said, she's gone. Again, I don't know what made her decide to just suddenly abandon me at possibly the worst time period. My guess is she was influenced by some of her idiot friends. But she took me off her Blizzard friends list, her Steam, Genshin Impact, Discord, everything. I even think she might have changed her Steam name and possibly her name on Discord as well. So, I have no idea what's going through her head. I don't know if anybody can still contact her and talk to her. But, as far as I'm concerned, she used me. She used me and basically did what every other woman in my life did. And that's why I can't trust women, at least not American ones, anymore. And I'm never, ever giving that a chance. I'm basically done with relationships of any kind. And that's that. I know Manami said she wanted to abandon me for my own benefit. But she has no idea what kind of damage she caused me. And now it's mostly thanks to her, my voice is now like this. Now for the main question, ZenithXI. I basically went over this in the State of Team video. But people still kept bothering me about it, kept asking me questions about it, which I tried to answer while in and out of consciousness. Again, I was basically sleeping about 16 to 18 hours a day. Waking up only for like maybe 30 minutes at max to maybe eat something real quick and then go back to sleep again. Or answer some DMs when I could. I mean, I even went anonymous and went invisible just so people would try to talk to me or anything. I still did. So as you all know, still have interest in ZenithXI. It's got a good host, Lance and Sargonis. Good people. Honorable people. I think they will follow their own rules just fine and not do any shady, underhanded stuff. I am confident that they will actually make probably the first good server in Final Fantasy XI private server history. You must think I'm exaggerating. Well, I wish I was. How to explain this? Okay, so here's the thing about private servers. And again, this is education for those of you who never played on a private server before, especially those of you who want to try to jump into Final Fantasy XI now, because I know many of you play Final Fantasy XIV, you're interested in Final Fantasy XI, but you've seen how retail is. It is a massive shit show, and it's right now retail is just overwhelming. Or some of you just don't want to pay I think it was $10 monthly subscription per month to play retail, with full knowing that you're probably going to be doing absolutely everything solo in retail for at least 6 months before you're even allowed to do any real actual party content or anything to do involving multiplayer. So, private servers is a volatile subject. I played on quite a few private servers. I played on EverQuest private servers, EverQuest 2 private servers, the Warcraft private server, quite a few Ragnarok Online private servers, Tree of Savior, but Horizon XI was my first Final Fantasy XI private server. Now, the thing about private servers is they kind of walk a fine line. Obviously, they are using the assets, music, art, all that is basically an emulation of a private of a server of whatever game that might still be ongoing or is dead. Example of a dead game that has a private server, City of Heroes. I'm sure quite a few of you have played that. Someone revived it via City of Heroes Homecoming, and because NCSoft basically shut down that game. Despite it was doing pretty well. It had a lot of players on it, but NCSoft just didn't want to run it anymore. But those guys had a pretty good deal there because NCSoft actually came up and it gave them their endorsement to run that server. So long as they don't try to make any profit off of it, they're fine. That is the best case scenario. Now, for EverQuest private servers, there's actually 2 that has the green light, go ahead, endorsement, basically whatever you want to call it. They are Project 1999, which is a server that will stay on Velius expansion, no matter what. And then there's Quorum, a recently new server that will actually go to Planes of Power. And that one's very, very popular right now. They actually got the go-ahead from Daybreak for their servers. They are now legally licensed. And as long as they don't try to profit off of anything, they can run their servers forever. Now here's the danger about private servers, and I've seen it happen many times before, especially on Ragnarok Online. I've seen it recently with Tree of Savior, and even Final Fantasy XI had this issue. There has been private servers where the hosts, their development team, their GMs, basically tried to make profit off of it, either blatantly or through underground means. They got caught. Their servers got shut down through cease and desist. And then they either rebrand it and bring it up again, or they just disappear and scatter. The thing is, I've also seen servers that weren't making any money at all. They were just put up there for the fans, by the fans, for everyone's enjoyment. But because they were put out in a bad time, or the company who owns all the assets, okay, is either struggling or there's some other reason, they decide to put a cease and desist on it. I've seen this happen with Tree of Savior and Ragnarok Online. So here's what I'm getting at. ZenithXI, perfectly fine. I doubt Lance will ever do an underground RMT activity ring thing like Horizon XI is doing. But here's the tricky thing. Square Enix isn't doing too well. We all know that. Everyone knows that. If this was 5 years ago, I wouldn't have put a single thought to it. But nowadays, Square Enix is hemorrhaging money. Their business executives are making stupid decision after stupid decision. They've fallen back to making remakes of classic games for nostalgia purposes and such. I mean, it's been back-to-back remakes with Square Enix lately. I mean, what was the last original Square Enix game I played? Christ. Valkyrie Profile 3? Ugh. Star Ocean Divine Force. Both of them were bad games. Anything else? That isn't a remake or a remaster? Christ, I can't even remember. So, despite their successes, they are still losing money, and they're losing money faster and faster. They've actually had to close down studios. So, what this means is that it's possible, it may or not happen, it may not ever happen, but you never know, because, again, these business executives, they are leaders that should not have been leaders. If you remember my previous discussion, they are making bad choices. There could be at one point that one of them, probably a junior executive, is going to point out, hey, why can't we make more money out of Final Fantasy XI? Why can't we squeeze more of that out? How come we don't have more players? There's a lot of these people that are saying, hey, I want to try out Final Fantasy XI. We see it on our forums. We see it in our social media, in our Discords. But where's the rise in player number in our Final Fantasy XI retail? And then, of course, this guy will probably have done all his research and studying, and they'll find out there's over 8,000, maybe 15,000 active players playing on these Final Fantasy XI private servers. That could be up to 15,000 in their logic, not mine. Again, their logic, which is stupid. They'll think, hey, those 15,000 or so players could be playing on our servers, bringing life to them again, and all paying a $10 a month subscription fee. That could be extra money in our pocket. Why aren't we doing something about this? They're stealing our assets, allegedly. They're stealing our players. What do we got to do to bring them over to here? And then probably some intern is going to say, well, why don't we make a Final Fantasy XI Classic server? That seems to be the majority of where these people are going in the private servers. And then they're probably going to look at him, and he's going to look back and probably be thinking, okay, maybe I should commit seppuku for that comment. Square Enix is never going to do that. They're never going to make a 75-era classic server, or try to do what at least 2 servers, Zenith included, is doing now, is trying to reverse engineer the level 80 and beyond plus era to work with the 75 era. Which is what a lot of people want. And if they were actually to do that, I can bet you many of these players will actually come back to play on a classic server like that, with brand new 75, with basically level 75 rules for the future content. Again, that's a lot of developer resources, and these developers, it varies, but they get paid about 20 to up to 50 an hour depending on their position. Japan's economy is kind of weird. Fact of the matter is, that's a real danger. And it kind of put me on edge with private servers as a whole. Tree of Savior, for example, one of their servers, a really great server called ZenithXI. Alright. They got knocked down recently by IMC. They got pissed because nobody's playing on their shitty pay-to-win servers. Even the release of that new server they had a while ago, where they said they would do things different, they didn't do shit different. So nobody played on it. They just wanted to play on private servers. So they saw the private servers and immediately brought the hammer down on them, thinking if they just get rid of them, maybe these players will come back. Didn't work, obviously. EverQuest had an issue too. A very popular server called The Hero's Journey was doing extremely well. Sadly, it was doing extremely well during a time when Daybreak was releasing yet another pay-to-win shitty server, shitty rules nobody asked for, nobody wanted. But it was supposed to be their creme de la creme server, and they put apparently extra effort into it. And guess what? Nobody was talking about it on their EverQuest Daybreak forums. They were talking about the Hero's Journey. That pissed Daybreak off, because that means no money for them. So they got the Hero's Journey shut down. The thing is, all it takes is just one executive. It doesn't even have to be a top executive, just a junior executive with some pull to point out something, and they could screw over the fun, enjoyment, and hard work of over 2,000 or so players, or infinitely more than that. And that's what scares me about private servers as of late. Because you never know when these companies that are failing or losing money may start to get desperate and start making stupid decisions, hurting whoever they need to get results they don't care. Now, as for me and ZenithXI, again, I was ousted by the community due to something not barely a friend, just somebody I spoke with on a friend's server who apparently has a lot of hatred for the Final Fantasy XI private servers for some reason. I don't know his story. I'll even know if it's a he, it could be a her. It's one of those idiots. But one of them sent a message to the mods using a sock account, and I have no idea what they could have said, but it was enough to scare Lance into thinking that I'm associated with it when I'm not. What Lance doesn't understand is that Final Fantasy XI Private Server Reddit isn't on his or anyone's side. They're on the side of whoever gives them money. And right now that's Horizon. And that's why any discussion talking about Horizon and their issues and the shitty people that runs the server and all that, any of that comes on that Reddit at all, it gets muted, and the person who posts about it gets immediately permanently banned, even though he wasn't breaking any rules. That's the reality. And if Horizon wanted to bash against Zenith or Phoenix, or Phoenix wants to bash against Zenith, because Zenith ends up being very popular and successful. Alright, it doesn't matter who Zenith associates with. They can associate with me, they cannot associate with me. Final Fantasy XI Private Servers and people involved will find a way to defame ZenithXI if they so wish to. Because again, Horizon XI is making a lot of money underground through the RMT trade. How did I find out this information? I had to research it. I had to talk to a lot of people. I had to look through a lot of dead websites that had the evidence. And you gotta think about it this way. If Horizon XI is really getting 2,000 or so Concord players a day, what do you think the monthly bill is to maintain a server like that? It's well over $2,000 a month. Do you think a bunch of people who are retired or barely makes much income is able to afford, even if they pull money together, would they even pull money together? I mean, Eric and his dev team, his GM team, is probably no bigger than 15 at this point. Are you telling me that they're all pitching in about $150 so each month to pay for this server? No. They're making that money through means that goes against their own server rules. And that's through the underground RMT trade. The thing is, they aren't the first server to do it in Final Fantasy XI. There's others who've done it too. And Horizon has already got a bit of hot water enough. They've been warned by Square Enix themselves a few times due to certain things they've done. Now, as for ZenithXI, again, I don't know what to do about it going forward. I really wish Lance, didn't listen to those private server guys or associate me with some random dude that I was just barely talking to in a friend's Discord. Just bringing up a question if maybe we should make our own private server Reddit or something. Since there's a lot of people in there who likes Final Fantasy XI. So many of them plays on private servers, but they do not like how the private server Reddit has been treating people and covering things up. But in the end, it wouldn't be a good idea anyway. Because Kipling or somebody else would probably try to get the new subreddit, closed down through some legal bullshit. In the end, I don't know if I can play on ZenithXI, because if I can't be part of the community, I can't do community events. I can't voice my opinion. I can't voice constructive ideas. And I gave a tremendous amount of support to Lance, introducing a lot of new people to his Discord was just starting out. I helped alpha test some things for him. Took me some time and wasn't easy to do since I was basically very tired and was on sleep meds, well, painkillers at the time. So I had to push myself to stay awake to perform those tests. Otherwise, I just fall back asleep on my recliner. But here's the issue, because if I go to ZenithXI, it means I won't be able to join any link shows that the development team and their GMs happen to be a part of. And that's a serious problem because all the best link shows are likely going to have a GM in it. Obviously, it should be fine if the player population reaches 800 plus. I mean, there are plenty of link shows on the horizon that does endgame and does it successfully and gets HNMs. It does not have GMs in it. But ZenithXI, depending on how Lance and Sarg markets it, then of course there's word of mouth and such. I mean, I'm hoping it will reach 800 plus concurrent players. If it does, I don't think I'll have anything to worry about. But if it ends up small, like maybe 500 players on a daily average, then unless the entire GM and development team is in one single LS together, then I think I'm going to have an extremely hard time. And that's what because of what Lance had to do, it got me even more depressed than I already was from losing Manami. I just couldn't do anything, and I didn't even want to do anything except sleep. Because at least if I'm sleeping, I'm not suffering. Either way, that's my take on it. Take with it what you will. I will be starting videos again soon. For now, I need to pick up quests and DQX. I gotta get those weekly quests and save them so I can do more. I just don't really feel like it right now. Plus, I just bought a Switch 2, which I think I deserved. Shame I couldn't find Age of Imprisonment. They didn't have a copy of it. I'll have to get it online, I guess. I prefer my physical copies. And I want to play Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom with 60 FPS 4K on the Switch system. In Master Quest mode. But, yeah, that's my take on it. If Lance watches this, I hope he's understanding, but I've got a lot of high hopes for ZenithXI. I just wish I could still support it publicly. But if Lance doesn't want my involvement, I'll do what Lance wants. Alright, that's it for me. I'm getting sleepy again. I'll see you guys on the next one.